This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
You enjoy vanilla?
Yes, vanilla farming, yes, correct.
Vanilla, right?
Yeah.
They are the largest producers and exporters of natural vanilla.
Tropical region.
Yes,
correct.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is just a little bit about
Madagascar.
Madagascar. But let's go to the proverb. When the village sees the scholar begging and the thief riding a horse, the children begin to question the road to wisdom. When the village sees the scholar begging and the thief riding a horse, the children begin to question the road to wisdom. How would you interpret it?
To be honest, it's such a beautiful quote. And I relate it to another quote that I've been reading this week. It says, if good people do nothing, then evil will triumph. You understand? Same kind of thing. Look at it from a different angle, the opposite way, the reverse. You understand? So to be honest, we are at that point as a country. And he's very, very right that people have realized, you know what, kama kazi imeshinda hawa watu, tutaichukua sisi wenyewe. I'm seeing very educated people coming on board. I'm seeing very serious people with clear intentions for the Mwananchi coming on board. Whereas even if we sit with the current batch of politicians who are just, looking out for themselves, the way they talk, the way they carry out themselves, it's all selfishness. Right. So you're getting a new breed of selfless leaders coming up and saying, you know what, the world, because you say technology is there, people are seeing how other countries are living and saying, you know what, we also deserve such a life. We also deserve such opportunities. We also deserve such things, such freedom, such, so on. So to be honest, with technology and education, people are more aware about their rights. People know what a constitution is. People know, that if they make a mistake of choosing the wrong leader now, they suffer the consequences for the next 5 years. So to be honest, I'm one of those people who has really been pushing for change on the ground everywhere, and in the protests. I'm one of the casualties who was also shot during the protests, and I realized that that's not the right way to actually bring change. If you really want to bring change, come out from your comfort zone. I'm a businessman, but I'm coming out of my comfort zone. I'm a family man, but I'm coming out of my comfort zone and coming to serve the people for a purpose.
That is well interpreted and dived straight into the conversation. Now, let's talk about state accountability. In each and every single thing that happens in the country, someone has to watch over how things are done, So you talk about funds, Exchequer have given this money. How are you spending the same? We talk about extrajudicial killing. What's the responsibility of the state in assuring that? From where it is you sit, Haj, in terms of state accountability, how has that been? Has the state been accountable to resources? Has it been accountable to security? Has it been accountable to even legislation that is sponsored by government?
To be honest, this is one of the. In my perspective, this is the one of the most saddest part of our history, rather. Like in terms of we're going back to the days where democracy is a very priced commodity. You understand? So I feel like you have to be very careful, first of all, with your words. Number two is you have to put things as they are at the same time. Hakuna mambo ya kudanganyana hapa. We have to look at a country and say where we are wrong. Umeelewa? So in terms of accountability, we've seen reports, we've seen the kind of budgets where the weight is being put on, which side and not the priority side. Like right now, farmers are really struggling across the country. They're really complaining. I even saw it on news last night, where we're expecting a tough time coming ahead because production is very low. So and this is what even my principal Sifuna always focuses on and says that I agree that we're doing something. That's the taxpayers' money. We are doing something in our country, but what are we doing it for? Accountability is not only about misuse of funds. It's appropriating funds appropriately, putting the money where it deserves to be put. Right now we have bigger issues like education, health, and of course, and that's why we're wondering, what are the stadiums for? Well, people, Mwananchi ana shilingi kwa mfuko, umeelewa? The youth are employed. 8 out of 10 Kenyan students are dropping out after high school. How are we going to get to Singapore with 8 out of 10 people dropping out after high school? So
are we ever going to get to Singapore?
That's a story. We have to be serious.
Yeah. Right.
Unajua, at the end of the day, hadithi ni hadithi. here sisi kama nchi, we're joking around. When we go to countries and we see 1 million people are doing so much better than a country with 60 million people, I'm wondering what's going on, because if you have an army of 60 million and an army of 1 million, the 60 million has better chances.
Right.
So, with proper accountability and people who love their country at the top, I believe this country is destined for greatness. We have a lot of blessing in terms of, opportunities. We have a young population, 19 average population. So, all these kind of things really trigger me. But accountability is something that is key. Everything should be open. People should be able to question why it costs 3-4 million to build a toilet. There's some things that are not making sense at all. Ghost workers, like just this time in education, 1.2 billion Kenya shillings was lost and not accounted for, sent to ghost schools, ghost students. You understand? 1.2 billion is enough to finance the entire, cohort of 1 million students per year. You understand?
Yeah.
So if we're losing such things, I don't believe, coming back to the Mwananchi and then taxing them again to get that money for your leakages. It's not fair, to be honest. Let's stop the leakages first and then come back to the Mwananchi and look at for more money, or, even charge them less, because I believe the leakages, our former President Uhuru Kenyatta used to say that we lose 2 billion Kenya shillings a day. You understand? I wonder how much we're losing now, because, it's reflecting even on the roads. The corruption level has really gone up, to be honest. Yeah.
In your opinion, because, we lament all the time about challenges.
Correct.
But now we have a golden opportunity of making a fresh mistake, or readjusting and recalibrating and creating new forces that is going to transform our country. In your opinion, how would an accountable regime look like?
An accountable regime, first of all, it starts with them also. Let me tell you where the problem comes in, where people are struggling and there's opulence in government. Like he said, when people watch and see that, the thieves are riding horses and the hardworking men are riding,
The scholars are begging.
The hardworking are begging. And that's the same situation in our country at the moment. You understand? The villagers are begging. So to be honest, opulence is really killing this country, where people are really showing that, they're making money, and at the bottom people are struggling. So number one. Number two, in terms of accountability, you mentioned, right? Where if you pay for a service, if it's SHA, it should work for you. Not a hit and miss. It works, but sometimes it doesn't. Why should it not end up being contributing? You understand? If you've been paying your taxes, your child deserves the education that is required. You understand? For example, like accountability, we talk about students being told, go to school. And they're going to school and they're being kicked out. You understand? Accountability where the school's supposed to be free, but when they go to a school, you hear parents, I'm busy paying bursaries, and I'm wondering why I'm paying it to the head teacher, or I'm paying it to the teacher. You understand? Why not pay it to the specific pay bill of the school or whatever it is? So there's a lot of issues, not only at the top level, but throughout the public service. You understand? Where we need to make sure that we have a proper SOP in terms of following, where even, anyone can just go, for example, paying for a passport, you're expecting it to come for within a week. You're told it's coming within a week. It takes a long time. You're told that vetting has been scrapped off. Yet I have so many people still waiting for their passports to be approved. You understand? And then be sent for vetting. So where accountability is where when the court says something, it's supposed to be followed.
Right.
And the government doesn't follow the court, and it expects me as a citizen to follow the court orders, while others are not following court orders. So all these are a part of accountability. Accountability is also where we see live someone shooting a protester, and we're told that guy did not do this thing. You understand? And nothing till today, no justice has been served, and no accountability has been served. So there are many examples that show that we're not here for fairness. We're not here to make it an equal play. It's supposed to be like that, where every life matters, everyone's voice counts.
And yet we have a very robust constitution.
Exactly.
That, unfortunately, or the reality is, can only be implemented by people that we put in office.
Yes.
Because the constitution will continue to be what it is so long as it stays in the shell. A very good constitution. But just like law, justice is a product of following the rule of law. If we don't follow this, because we know, the president, I'm sure he knows what he should be doing. The governors know what they should be doing. The MPs, and you as the incoming MP of Langata, you know what you're expected to do. You know you should not be handling any CDF as a member of parliament, because it is not constitutional. But you see, it has become a campaign tool, CDF, for example. So since we have this very robust constitution, And we have 53 weeks to go to the ballot. And you have now your movement, the Linda Mwananchi movement. What is your message to Kenyans? Because one term, Ruto must go, Zakayo Ashuke, Tawe, all those were movements that have come and gone. What is the message today to Kenyans other than Ruto must go? Because Ruto will go by the collective will of the people, but then what? Our 13 trillion debt does not disappear.
Correct. We were in a fix, and we're even in a worse fix.
So then what? What is the message here?
And that's why I say that we should give it to somebody who loves the country to be able to make sure to make the right decisions on behalf of the country, not on their interest. So what I'm trying to say is, number one, I would tell the people to make sure, if all these virgin people who have just turned 18, people who don't have votes, chukua kadi. Hiyo ni very important. Many people believe that registration is not ongoing. It is very much ongoing. Go to the IEBC office and register. It takes 5-10 minutes, surely. Go and do that. That sends a message to the government as well that we're here for serious matters. And we have to do it as soon as possible. If somebody in your house has not done it, afanye. Kila mtu tushikane, tuambiane kila mtu achukue kura, kwa sababu kura yetu ni sauti yetu. Sidio? Tuanze na hapo. Number 2, look at all the leaders that are running for your particular constituent, for your ward, for your county, for whatever. And I love it. Actually, wherever I go nowadays, people asking me for my manifesto, which I have very clearly, my 5 points. I'm ready to tackle them, and that's all I talk about. So anyway.
I hope Basari is not part of that.
No. Basari, we're scrapping it off.
Okay.
We have promised free education. If other constituents can do it, then also we can do it. We don't need to hold people as slaves so that they can vote for us. No way. Number 2 is that get to know everyone's agenda for you. What are they here to serve for you? Huyu amekuja biashara ama huyu amekuja kutuangalilia maslahi yetu. Umeelewa? Hiyo ni kitu ya pili. Vet each and every one of them, regardless of party. Let me tell you what gets us into trouble sometimes is because of this 6-piece voting. I don't know what. No. Every candidate should get a proper scrutiny and see that this person deserves. Number 3 is to make sure that you're also studying the pattern and the habits of the person. If this is a person who is outgoing, let me tell you, my brother, I've told my family and my friends, this is the only campaign I'm ever going to run. Because once I win this, let my job sell me. You understand? I don't understand why people are still campaigning 4 terms later, 5 terms later.
40 years. We even have 40 years.
What are you campaigning for when you should be doing a good job? So look at someone's track record. See if they have any issues. Whether it's land grabbing, whether it's siphoning money, ghost worker, whatever it is. If anybody has a question mark, my friend, we are not here to bring in thieves again. No way. We want leaders. We don't want dealers. So we want people with a clean and clear track record.
Yeah, I mean, let me just respond to Linda Gola. Linda Gola, the conversation we're having right now is on state accountability, evaluating government action ahead of 2027. And here to have the discussion with us is Omar Haj, and thank you for joining us at this time, Linda Gola. But Haj, even as we talk about state accountability, as we approach, you've said something that is very critical, that you campaigned, you were voted in, with promises that you promised, you gave the people that you would do to them, their deliverables that do exist. At the end of the day, your job should determine whether you're coming back or you're going home, because that is the bare minimum that the people must either renew your contract or not. It's based on performance, right? Yeah. But now here today, we're sitting here and we're looking at state accountability, where affordable, what do we call it? University funding model. This one will sort things out. People complain about it. But yesterday, just the other day, the president says, we are back. We are getting rid of this, and now we will pay. Yet if you go back to even the budget making process, it has not been budgeted for by the National Assembly through the Finance Act. The government never prioritized that it would now change even the funding model. Healthcare, it is working. Kenyans are complaining about it. We're talking about a promise to end abduction and disappearance of Kenyans. It has happened, under your watch, where you promised that would stop being the case. You promised security, that you would secure Kenyans. How are Kenyans finding themselves today? Are they secure? Cost of living, it would be addressed. It has not been addressed. When you look at all these things in 2027, in terms of accountability to the people, where now you're coming back to the people to say, give me another chance to go and provide security, healthcare, education, security, right? What must be done for the political class to realize that the accountability that you're talking about is not necessarily to National Assembly where they say they will do oversight, but accountability comes from the people because it is them you promised and they trusted you with their vote.
They're also trusting you with the taxes, my friend. People can just stop paying taxes if they're seeing that taxes are being misused. You understand? Because at the end of the day, we're the ones paying them, and we're giving them the mandate and the trust that they should be able to use our resources to build a better country for us and manage everything in a better way. But if that money is not being used in the right way, and that's exactly why even there was a statistic, I think like 60% of the parliament will not come back. I can assure you even 90% of the parliament will not come back.
We're hoping for 100, just for the record.
No, there's some guys who are working.
We are hoping for the hope.
Honest people, to be honest.
The hope is 100.
There's some few handful who are there, and to be honest, and I really appreciate them. Unajua, mtu kama Babu Wino, to be honest. Mpaka sisi tukitoka kwa nyumba umekanyaga lami.
Did he
we can't
vote on the
criticize him.
finance bill?
Yes, he voted.
Even this one.
Even this one. He was there. I was with him and he rushed to the parliament to vote. So these are people that we should not put to the test, but there's some people definitely we should put. People we told them vote no, they voted yes. Wakatutukana pia kwa WhatsApp. You know what I mean? Those are people we'll never forget, my brother.
Right.
We are getting there to them. And in terms of security, you mentioned about accountability. Let's just touch on a few examples out of each and every. In terms of security, it is published by IPOA. This was like a report a month ago. About 149 people were killed by police this year. By police this year. You know, when there's no accountability being done for previous cases, it becomes normal to the police to just kill because they don't find it, there's no consequences to any action they take. You understand? So that's a number one problem. Number two is people are the biggest challenge actually facing my ward, my constituent, as much as every ward has their own challenges, whether it's South Sea, High Rise, Karen, Mugumoini, all of them, Nairobi West, they have different challenges. But the unique challenge is that the country has an average age of 19 and people wako kwa mawe. Watu wamekaa na wanataka kufanya kazi, hakuna kazi. What does it bring next? Insecurity. How? Goons, stealing, nini, unaona? So all these things are becoming more rampant because people have no jobs. Hawezi kulaumu kijana ambaye anako tayari kufanya kazi na hakuna opportunities. You understand? And these opportunities cannot just fall from the sky, brother. These opportunities are created. I have seen how other countries are doing it. I have seen how people create opportunities. Within Langata, my brother, right now we're building a website to connect people who are looking for jobs and people who need skill. You understand? I've realized there's a big disconnect where to meet these people. First of all, people in Langata, many of them want jobs, but they don't even know how to make a CV. But yet, none of the leaders can come and teach them even to make a CV.
But Haj, having highlighted all those problems, your president said, I think it was yesterday,
yes.
Mimi si wazimu, mimi si vuti, mimi si mlevi, mimi si mjinga, in a manner insinuating that he knows, one, what is going on, what he's doing, and the consequences thereof. Are we too harsh as Kenyans? Are we demanding too much from this regime, from this president? Do we not get it on how we are supposed to be governed? Because we, the governed, are the one who set demands and who voted. Are we demanding too much?
No, we're not.
Are we the ones who are wrong? Are we the ones who sisi ndio wajinga, sisi ndio wazimu?
For the basics bwana. Leo hii Nairobi kuna watu hawana maji.
Right.
Leo hii Nairobi watu hawaendi shule. Leo hii Nairobi hakuna security. Leo hii Nairobi hauna uhuru wa kusema kitu. The basics. We're not asking for a stadium. We're not asking for things that don't make sense.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
We're just asking for the basics. Help mwananchi survive the day-to-day life. Watu hawana hata unasema hand to mouth. Watu sasa hawana hata hiyo hand. Sasa mouth inakaa badala ya kukula inaenda kupiga kelele, inaenda kufanya mambo mengine, umeona? So kitu moja mimi nakwambia, we have to put every leader, not only the president, in check, because these are people who are there to drive this country to the right direction. Si kazi yetu, ni kazi yao. Si ndio? Na kama wana fail kwa kazi yao, na sisi kwa amongst us kuna watu ambao wanafanya kazi, tutaenda tutashikilia hiyo usukani na tuendeshe. We have led businesses to success. We cannot fail to lead these constituents to success. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this thing is intentional. Somebody must have a purpose. Purpose yako ni nini? Kutajirika hapa kuangalia mambo yako vile utajijenga wewe na familia yako, ama utakuja hapa kuangalia maslahi ya wananchi? Uwasikize, usikie wanataka nini na uimplement kitu wanataka. Wewe huwasikizi. Wewe unataka kufanya vile wewe unataka, na wananchi wana njaa. Umeelewa? You have to look at it like this is like a child. You're giving this child a Ferrari, you're giving them every privilege, a helicopter, everything, but you're denying them the basic and the most important thing. Umpei chakula, umpei education, umlei, umpati mapenzi. Umeelewa? Mtoto unapompa tu, ukimpea zile basics ambazo anahitaji, si lazima hii nyingine yote. Umeelewa?
A good place to take a break. A good place to take a break, but Ferrari. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with much more as we look at the traffic and weather right here in Kenya's what do you call it? Kenya's bold newspaper.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Kind of thing I'm talking about. We need to look at it in that way and see tutafanyaje. Na hao viongozi wanataka uongozi si kitu ya mchezo. You can only come into leadership if you know that you're here for the people. If you're coming in for your own interest, unatafuta laana, my friend. Unatafuta laana. Acha nikwambie. Sheria ni mbaya sana. At the end of the day, kama hii constitution iko hapa sasa kuna mbele boss. Umeelewa? Baada hii dunia, I believe I've always believed in that there's always accountability, na iko siku utalipia kila action utafanya. Umeelewa? So lazima watu waache kufikiria kwamba tutaishi miaka 100. Uangalie vile utaacha impact. People should care about legacy. I don't know why people in Kenya don't care about legacy. I want to be the leader that is remembered that he contributed You understand? Si ule leader ambaye hata ukizikwa watu bado wako na machungu na wewe. Unaona?
Yeah, you know, one thing that I know, even as Kamanya gets in, the legacy that we see right now that has existed is legacy politicians. But yes, continue.
Yeah, that's the only legacy we have. People come out and say, I have not been in leadership for 50 years.
Yeah.
It is 40 years. That's the correction they make. And then you ask people, and in this case, like I in my opinion, I would cite a person like Kalonzo Musyoka, because he's a presidential aspirant. A person who has been in politics for a long time. A person who has been in this electoral cycle various times, different constitutional dispensation. But today, him and others like him, legacy politicians, he wants to appear as a solution for this country. You don't have to respond to him as a person, but what do you think about these legacy politicians coming up, whom in their submission for candidature, they cannot make a complete sentence without mentioning Gen Z, Ruto, one term, must go. Like you don't hear a clear-cut agenda where you would say, okay, actually this guy has been around for so long, he sounds very competent. And this is what makes me say that experience is not competence.
Correct.
Being around for so long doesn't mean you can do the thing right. What do you say to such things?
Me, let me tell you, like I go back to my first point. I've seen the leaders that succeed, and I've always been admiring leaders that are loved to a point. Paka watu wanaeka bendera yao nje ya dirisha, not because they're forced, but because they love their leader. They put a sticker of their leader on the car. Paka nashangaa, yani huyu leader amefanya nini paka watu wake wanampenda hivi. Umeona? It really makes me want to learn what these people are doing to make the people love them. You understand? Now, it's crazy how now when you look at this other side, you find that you're finding it hard to have the appetite to want to be with somebody. You understand? As much as somebody doesn't have a track record, whatever it is, you know, you want to feel the person that is going. You want to see a promise for change. You understand? So this is where the difficulty. But what I've seen from a long time back, whether I've been with Sifuna way back, even before Kitengela, you understand? We have seen promise in this kijana. Umeelewa? Imono kijana kona promise. He has what it takes to become a good leader. And all it takes is love for the people. For the people. If it's experience, my brother, you can hire a professional. You don't have to be a doctor to have a hospital, right? And so long as you care, right? To be honest, let's look at it like that. So even if Sifuna, people are saying he's a young man, hatoboi president, anatoboa vizuri sana, my friend. What he has accomplished so far to unite the people and give them hope that there is still a chance and there's still, you know, a better Kenya coming up. It's not an easy task. It's an uphill task. Imagine without money, where we're in a country where, you know, so people are saying that he'll not reach because hana finances, kwa sababu sijui hana experience, he's not old enough. he doesn't need finances. He just needs our vote. You understand? What does he need? Just our vote. Number two, he can hire people who can help him in different specialties. He has older people for wisdom. If it's about wisdom, we have Orengo, we have all these other people. So at the end of the day, all these things can be fixed. You just need that one person who loves the country and will not agree that, you know, funds are stolen. He will not agree to see the people suffer. He will not agree that the kids are not educated. Somebody who just loves and says, no way this will go on. Fix it.
Now that you mentioned Sifuna, he's still a party, his political party is still ODM. Because none of these people, regardless of what they come and tell you, so long as they were elected and voted in on a party ticket, none of them has resigned. Because if they do, it means they lose the position they are holding today. That's according to the Constitution, 101. So sometimes I wonder, if they so strongly believe in what they're saying, like Sifuna, why can't he just resign from ODM, vacate the senatorial seat, and then proceed with his campaign? Because him remaining a member of the ODM, and this is a conflict I struggle to understand, his own party leader of ODM today is calling for what he said a benevolent dictator for this nation. Though they are having discourse on his SG position and all and being whipped from the Senate. But do you not find that conflicting? If these people believe in what they're saying, like we're saying the concept of Kalonzo, having been around for so long, he doesn't substantiate what he can do for the country, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, I ask, can persons like Sifuna not just resign from ODM, vacate senatorial position, and now join the cause?
If he was rich, he was rich, believe me, he would have dropped out a long time. Kama angekuwa meiba, angekuwa kuna pesa, watches timejapo, believe me, he would have resigned now. But let me tell you,
but you know what I say, you know.
Let me tell you the sad truth of our politics.
Right.
It costs a lot of money to run our politics. You understand? Movement, security, PA system, all this is costing money. You understand? Sifuna, and he literally, we're all surviving. It's like you're telling me to quit what I'm doing right now so that I can focus on the leadership of the people. I cannot quit this. Still, I'm sure that I have a seat and now I have a full mandate to serve the people. Then I can. Kwa sababu nitalishaje familia yangu nyumbani? Nitaendeleaje na hii kazi ambayo tunafanya bila hiyo mshahara ambayo anategemea? Umeelewa? So pia lazima tukue understanding in a way that if he loses his position, first of all, it's even more dangerous because he will not be in Senate now to even talk about the issues that he is talking about at the moment. You understand? So you look at the bigger picture where, okay, I'm with these guys, but let's just finish this 1 year and be able to bring the real change that we need. So to be honest, kama angekuwa nado, believe me, angekuwa ametoka kitambo.
But it's not even a question of money. It's a question of fidelity to the people. Because I look at, you were elected to that position through this party that had certain vision or ideologies. It has gotten to a point where the ideologies that you stand for, right, contradicts that which the party is now pushing at that particular moment. So therefore, there is that contradiction on the party that put me here is pushing different things. Whether you like it or not, today Sifuna remains being the senator elected through ODM, right?
Correct.
But he does not push the agenda of the party anymore. The sensible thing to do in a democracy that has matured is step out, let the people decide whether they still want you there based off your performance and deliverables. That is the accountability that you're talking about here.
No, let me tell you, I agree, that's the highest level. That's the kind of accountability where Prime Minister resigns because the train arrived late on time. You understand? They're the kind of accountability. But do we have that accountability from top to bottom in Kenya? No. With all these killings that have happened, in another country, for sure, even a president would have resigned in a very mature democratic. So we're in a country where, to be honest, if he does that, in fact, he's exposing the Mwananchi even more. But you understand? I think the voting that happened in Senate, he would have not voted.
What Dennis is alluding to, and I tend to agree, if anybody resign, doesn't have to be Sifuna. It can also be Metho, Senator Metho, because he belongs to UDA. Senator Metho is not a member of DCP. Why can they just resign? Because in 90 days, they'll go back to the ballot. Okay,
people will decide.
as provided for by the constitution, and the people will decide if this is the person we want, the person we feel is accountable enough to advocate for us. They'll vote them in, even on an independent candidate or any other political party. That's the level of accountability we are seeking, because self-preservation is what sustained colonialism. If we are to expound that concept, people are saying, if Muzungu goes, how are we going to survive?
Yeah.
You saw the case in South Africa. They said, no, if you give this country to Africans, it's going to be run down. You understand? So the concept of self-preservation is very selfish in its own nature. But the people who have been able to see a revolution go through, you can talk of, the Cuban Revolution is the most popular. People gave up their own personal desires. Today, everybody dons Che Guevara's attire. But the sacrifices the man made, personal sacrifices, if he had said, no, I want to stay with my wife or my kids, he would not have conquered what he did. Remember, he even declined a position in Cuba to proceed to Argentina and other countries. I don't want to proceed on that, but you get the concept. Why is it we do not have people who are committed to the cause of liberating this country like the freedom fighters did? The people who fought for the second dispensation, the constitution, in the late 80s, early 90s, there are many, but the person who always comes to my mind is Reverend Timothy Njoya. The guy was part of clergy, he had a job, but you'd come to the streets and we saw him being beaten, among many other people. They made those personal sacrifices because they believed in the cause. Yeah. So sometimes I wonder, it is just pure rhetoric we see from people seeking political expediency, that they cannot simply resign from a position which they can still contest for within 90 days.
Because then again, let me bring you back. Let me just add, because then again, if Sifuna says that his greatest example is Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga resigned at one point in time and said, I do not believe and trust that I go with this ideology. If that's an example that was set, why not set it?
No, I agree. And the thing is, you have to look at each and every case in its own instance. You understand? Each and every instance. Kama sasa utaniambia mbona sikumpiga ule mwizi. Sikumpiga kwa sababu ningempiga kulikuwa na wezi wengine wangeniattack. Umeelewa? So sometimes there's a third angle which we don't see that they see, because he's the one in that position. You understand? And he knows. And I'm sure Sifuna always stands for what is right. Believe me, as a person and also as a leader. And I can assure you that he would have done this if it eats him up. At ODM, nobody wants to be associated with the ODM. At the moment, why? I was a diehard of ODM. I loved Baba so much, but I don't agree with the principles of ODM anymore. Why? Because ODM spoke truth through power. ODM meant democracy. ODM, in the past would always field a presidential candidate. Now all of a sudden they can't. So I feel like this is not the ODM, and we all defected along with Sifuna because we felt like we still have to carry on with the spirit of ODM, where the democracy was handed over to the Mwananchi. But now it's different. So the guy is really assessing, and by him staying as the SG of, it's like you're saying, why didn't he retire? Why did he resign from ODM? Let us give these guys a tough time. You understand? It's political. Let us give these guys a tough time.
Okay.
While we arrange ourselves and move on with our current, the real spirit of ODM. So to be honest, there's some things you look at from your angle, you see it's bad, but from our side, we're looking at it as a strategy sometimes, and sometimes we even agree to lose a battle. Some of these elections that they're celebrating wins, it's because we agreed to lose a battle, but we are ready to win the war.
You see, every campaigning period or election period, Kenyans will be given humongous promises. I'll just take you back to Olkalao. People were promised, and it was actually delivered. And it was delivered. You go to Mbere as well, there were promises. Transformers that were later removed anyway. You know what I mean? But you look at these promises that Kenyans are given, and one asks the question, are they just promises because we want to get to office? Or is there intent to deliver on these promises? Because where Kenyans sit today, Kenyans are asking, this is what you said, but this is what you're doing. Has there ever occurred to those in that political space that promises are meant to be kept? And
this is something like hii serikali imekuwa ikipeana promises one after the other, launching and relaunching of projects. Hata hii mambo education unasikia, why is it being done now? Because elections coming up. So at the end of the day, it's all optics, how they want it to be. Like you mentioned it, in Bere, where the transformers were even removed. Half of these privileges you're being announced for will be removed after getting into
they
office.
went for servicing.
Oh, they went for servicing. As Jarudi bado. Jarudi too. Jarudi time election has tender servicing by the election. So you see what I'm trying to say is, let us be serious. This accountability that we're talking about is the same accountability that we're seeing even in this side, where even unfortunately we saw a lot of police officers and all that. They say that it's not the police, but I mean, come on, even the investigation by the TV shows it all. So basically, these are people interfering with the normal process of the election, and still they lost. You understand? So at the end of the day, the vote ndo itaongea. Umeelewa? Na same thing in Langata. Imagine you're finding someone running for MP who has spent 200-300 million already. Where are these people going to recoup that money from? Umeelewa? Lazima pia tuelewe, because I mean, it's not charity. You understand? You cannot spend more than what you'll recoup in the entire 5 years before even the election. You understand? So you need to be smart and look at such situations and see, okay, there's nobody here going to lose that money. You understand? So you have to be careful and see who is the right person and give that leadership to the right people, the right team. So at the end of the day, yangu ni kusema tu mwananchi ndio ameshika kura, lakini mimi ni kuhimiza kila mwananchi kuchukua kadi yao, upige kura kulingana na sera ya mtu na tabia yake, na pia uangalie roots zake. Ukienda kuoa bibi, unaoa bibi tu kwa sababu umekutana naye town na umemwona ni supu. Unaangalia paka familia yake, babake ni mwizi, ex. Unaelewa? Live. Juu acha nikwambie bana. These things, me I'm seeing it. Like you find someone's father was a thief, amekuja tena naye pia ni mwizi. Unashangaa sasa, where we put in the same people in line, you understand? So you look at the record of the people. To be honest, when you're marrying a woman, look at her tabia, her family, how she deals with this, same thing.
Haj, there's a question that is asked often, that mwananchi knows what is right and wrong.
Correct.
There's an example that was given here the other day, that when you are keying in your M-Pesa PIN, you will key in the correct pin, because if you key in the wrong pin,
it's a block.
Yes. You know what is right, what is wrong. You know that when you want to cross the road, you have to look right, left. If it's clear, you cross, right?
Correct.
You know very well that this person who has, he doesn't like it when you call them leaders. These
servants.
These
are employees.
These employee who's coming here asking for my vote, right? Is not a good person. Why? Because EACC has spoken. They have been investigated before. But then again, mwananchi still proceeds forward and gives them the vote. So when we're asking for accountability, I mean, even mwananchi as well are the ones who receive bribes. So when you talk about accountability, do mwananchi shoot themselves on the leg when they themselves participate in wrongdoing?
But you see, the thing is, you ask yourself, why is the mwananchi in that position in the first place? Kama hana, na hiyo ndo hustle iko leo. Kusema ukweli, mimi hata jana niko na watu walienda State House kuchukua empowerment, na ni watu wangu mbaya sana. Umeelewa? Wanakula, mimi sina shida wakienda kula, wacha wakule boss. At the end of the day, they are getting something, and I'm happy that my people are getting something.
But
at the end of the day,
Haj. Isn't that what you'd call political haram? In this sense.
So what I'm telling you is, I'm happy that they're taking what belongs to them. You understand? But I don't encourage it. Sijui kama elewa. Kama unaona kiongozi ambaye anakuja na kupatia sera na hakuji na hiyo gia, huyo mwanzo ndio unafaa umwangalie vizuri, kwa sababu huyo hajakuja kununua kura yako, amekuja kukuomba na kukuelezea kwa nini anahitaji kura yako. Lakini kama mtu anakuja na kupea gas na hata ana story nayo, kuja upange line, pita, chukua, surely you can already put a question mark and say this person is buying my vote. So get that and still don't vote, because that money is yours, especially if it's a current leader. Umeelewa?
Well, I do hear that.
So you're saying that entirely we should not go and take it? Sure.
It's a question we are asking, because at the end of the day, if we say we don't agree with what these people stand for, if we say we don't subscribe to their ideology, if we say we do not want to vote them in, if we say the money they're giving us is our money,
Stolen from us.
Stolen from us. That's the reason why you have pothole. That's why you have garbage uncollected in your constituency and in your estate. Now, this is the point. This is why we are saying we should change ourselves as voters. Because if, for example, today, the outgoing president, William Ruto, called for an event to State House, which we know is a campaign event, is not a state event, and people refuse to show up because they do not agree to his doings as a president, I think that would be a stronger message than going and collecting the money. And the same applies. The same applies also to any other politician, any other aspirant who will go for a meeting, and you know this person who do not subscribe to the ideology, don't show up. Because people show up, they take the money, then they distract the meeting. This is how we end up with the loss of lives. If you don't show up, the person will understand, I do not have any ground, as people say. Therefore, they either re-strategize or withdraw.
We have to educate the people. That's a very good angle to look at it from. But the problem, it needs a lot of participation and 100% of the participation. Juu ukiona umekata kwenda kuchukua 10k na hapo wewe unaona watu wengine wameenda, unaona jo ile pesa mimi ningekuwa nimeenda ningemaliza mashida zangu za rent. Umeelewa? Look at it from that perspective. Kama pia mtu hana kitu. Umeelewa? Na nasikia kuna gawanywa 10-10. Boss.
But again, Haj, because you are an aspiring member of parliament, as you teach them, this is what I argue. My argument is this: poverty is a social construct, is something that is created and sustained because they know exactly what you're saying, that people are hungry. People, you say they don't have the hand, now only the mouth. You know, the survival mode. Everybody's in survival mode. Everybody is in debt, drowning in debt. Companies are closing. So the economic situation is doing badly. Even families are collapsing because spouses are not able to manage the homestead. So they do know this fact. And that's why they're using that as a campaign tool. They're taking our pain points. They will listen. They'll show up for a Harambe. An MP will show up and give $1 million or 2 or 3.
Or 10.
A deputy president will show up in a Harambe fundraising for whatever projects, church or otherwise, give 5 million and say I've been sent by president with 10 million. Yet the health system that is meant to safeguard that person who does not have gas, who is struggling to pay rent, is not working. If we say no, no has to be a complete sentence.
No. Correct.
You don't go to pick handouts because we want you so gone.
We need 100%
what do you
of
think?
That will give us a beautiful country. Let me tell you, that will give us the best leadership. And with a 60 million population, I think we will go very, very far with good accountability.
Yeah.
So to be honest, that's really great, and I agree with you. But again, well, there is why the bitterness comes in. Why I say that go cooler, because these are current leaders who we know very well. Wame grab land, wamekula pesa, umeelewa. Kuna watu wengine ambao tunawajua, like, I'd rather they get just punished and that money goes away. Because at the end of the day, the voter must remember that when you're going to cast your vote, it is wewe na Mwenyezi Mungu na karatasi yako. Umeelewa? Wewe, Mwenyezi Mungu na ballot yako. Jamii nataka umekula pesa mtu, si deni, ni haki yako. Piga tick mahali unaona mtu ataleta maendeleo in the next 5 years. That way, as a country, we will go forward. So my advice is, as we try to move towards zero tolerance on these things, you know that even my political strategy, I don't hand out like that. That's very madarau. Unalipa watu hivi ni kama sitakusema, but it's very bad. Umeelewa, but the same thing, it's not right. But at the same time, watu wakipata na wakisaidika waweze kupush hii mwaka moja, lakini time ya election ukipatiwa hiyo ballot yako jameni. Please make sure, regardless of political position, because something that wananchi don't understand, kuna kitu inaitwa zoning. Unapata kama wewe umeambiwa piga ODM. Alafu huko chini umewekewa watu wengine ambao hata hawana maana, ama huko juu umewekewa mtu hana maana, but because wewe ni strong ODM utavote all the 6 ODM and unatuleta kwa mashaka. Umeelewa? Kwa sababu mtu amenunua tikiti na ameingia. Umeelewa? So those are the things that, by the way, I really don't agree with that party and I left because of that. Umeelewa? Zoning is a really big problem. So mwananchi should not also be cheated by the party. I'm from a party that I love so much, but I know and I'm sure that my president Sifuna ataelektiwa, najua governor wangu ataelektiwa kwa sababu ya track record na kazi wamefanya. Si lazima hata niwapigie campaign. Wao wenyewe watashika hiki kitu. So si lazima, na hata kama unaona hawajafanya kazi, usipigie kura, mpigie yule ambaye unaona anafanya kazi. Kwa ufupi, let's make the right decision. Now, ukijiona mimi nitachapa job, I'm here to serve. If you feel like I'm here for business, then, that's a shame, because that's not the case.
Omar, as we get to the election, because time is also not on our side,
Correct.
as we get to 2027, elections have and must be people-centric, because the people have spoken for the past 4 years, based off the track record that exists. Mwananchi is the one who will decide how we are moving forward. Either we're going right or we're going left. It is Mwananchi who will communicate on that ballot. Moving forward, how then do Mwananchi set the agenda for the political class to follow? Not the other way around.
Very important. Number one, I think it's so important that debates are started to be arranged as soon as possible. And if any leader doesn't attempt to join the debate, that leader should not be chosen. If you don't choose to be in the debate, it means you will not go to parliament. You understand? Or it means you will not. So it's so important that everybody comes in and debates. And town halls should be held. If it's about MCA, wapige hizo madebate, watu, and even the public should participate and show interest. Na karanga hawa watu bana. We should be thoroughly examined to see right, left, center. Wewe ukiingia airport unaangaliwa na unakaguliwa vizuri mpaka kwa mfuko, saa zingine hata huko mwanzo unaambiwa tero mzee. Piga mtu tero mzee. Shika kanyaga shingo, vunja mguu. Make sure that this is the best leader. That's number one. Educate. Number two, as the public, let us educate people who don't know about voting, the importance of voting, wenda wakachukue kura. Bila hiyo, sahi majenzio wanaambiwa wajenzio wanapiganga kelele na hawana kura. Surely, jenzi mtakubali kuambiwa kwamba nyinyi mnapiga kelele na hamuna kura. Kachukueni hizo kura, watu wajue bana si mchezo. Umeelewa? And actually, I've seen that. So basically, tuangalie hawa watu ambao tuhakikishe tuna sensitize, tuhakikishe watu mambo ya bribery na nini, educate each other. Even what you guys are doing as media, bringing in such leaders to see, that's amazing. So yangu ni kusema kwamba Langata niko tayari kuwa serve. Ni Haji mnahitaji, mimi ni kijana wenu wa South Sea na niko tayari kuwapeleka mbali sana. Shukran na Mungu awabariki.
All the best.
Omar Haji, political analyst, Linda Mwananchi, and also aspirant Langata constituency camp 2027. State accountability. What is the responsibility of Mwananchi? What will you say camp 2027 at exactly 9 a.m. time for Newswire with Sheila Tembur. Good morning.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.